There are places on this earth where logic breaks down completely, events that defy every scientific explanation we have, mysteries so baffling that even our most brilliant minds throw up their hands in defeat. Today, we're diving into 15 of the most perplexing unsolved mysteries that continue to haunt researchers, scientists, and curious minds around the world. These aren't just stories or urban legends, these are documented phenomena that challenge everything we think we know about reality itself. Welcome to Dream Vault Mysteries, where we explore the unexplained corners of our world. If you're fascinated by the unknown and love diving deep into mysteries that science still can't crack, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming up in this series. But before we jump in, let me ask you something. What would you do if you witnessed something that completely shattered your understanding of how the world works? Something so impossible that you'd question your own sanity? Well, the people involved in today's mysteries faced exactly that dilemma. And by the end of this video, you might find yourself questioning reality too. So buckle up, because we're about to journey into the realm of the truly inexplicable. The Taos hum stands as one of the most maddening acoustic mysteries ever recorded. Since the early 1990s, residents of Taos, New Mexico have been tormented by a low-frequency humming sound that seems to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. But here's what makes this truly bizarre: only about 2% of the population can actually hear it. Those who do hear the hum describe it as a distant diesel engine idling, or the sound of heavy machinery running somewhere just out of sight. The sound is persistent, never stopping, driving some people to the brink of madness. Several residents have actually packed up and fled the town entirely, unable to cope with the constant noise that no one else can hear. Scientists have conducted extensive studies. They've used sensitive recording equipment, analyzed sound waves, and even brought in teams of acoustic engineers. The result? Complete silence on their instruments. Whatever is causing the Taos hum doesn't register on any known recording device, yet the people who hear it insist it's as real as thunder. Theories range from underground military installations to mass psychological phenomena. Some suggest it's caused by unusual geological formations that amplify certain frequencies. Others believe it's connected to electromagnetic fields or even extraterrestrial activity. But after 3 decades of investigation, we're no closer to an answer than when this mystery first began. Moving from sound to sight, we encounter the Brown Mountain Lights of North Carolina. For over a century, mysterious orbs of light have been dancing across Brown Mountain like ghostly performers on an invisible stage. These aren't brief flashes or fleeting glimpses. Witnesses describe glowing spheres that rise from the mountain, hover in the air, then dart across the landscape with impossible speed and precision. The lights appear in various colors, from pale yellow to brilliant red, sometimes pulsing rhythmically, other times maintaining a steady glow. They've been photographed, filmed, and witnessed by thousands of people, including park rangers, scientists, and government officials. Yet despite extensive investigation, no one can explain what causes them. The Cherokee people who originally inhabited the region have legends about the lights stretching back generations. They believed the orbs were the spirits of warriors who died in battle, forever searching for their loved ones. Modern science has proposed everything from swamp gas to ball lightning to atmospheric reflections. But none of these explanations account for the light's intelligent behavior. their ability to respond to observers, or their consistent appearance over such a long period. What makes the Brown Mountain Lights even more perplexing is their apparent awareness. Multiple witnesses report that the lights seem to react to human presence, sometimes approaching observers or moving in patterns that suggest intelligence. It's as if something is deliberately putting on a show, night after night, decade after decade. But if mysterious lights and phantom sounds weren't enough to challenge our understanding of reality, let's talk about the Antikythera mechanism. Discovered in a shipwreck off the coast of Greece in 1901, this ancient device has been called the world's first computer. The problem, it was created over 2,000 years ago. The mechanism is a complex arrangement of bronze gears, wheels, and dials housed in a wooden frame. When researchers finally decoded its purpose, they were stunned. This ancient Greek device could accurately predict the positions of the sun, moon, and planets. It could calculate eclipses, track the 4-year cycle of the Olympic Games, and even account for the irregular orbit of the moon. The level of sophistication required to create such a device shouldn't have existed in ancient Greece. The precision of the gearwork rivals that of 18th century clockmakers. The astronomical knowledge embedded in its calculations wasn't rediscovered by modern science until the Renaissance. It's like finding a smartphone in a medieval castle. Who built the Antikythera mechanism? How did they acquire such advanced knowledge of astronomy and engineering? And perhaps most importantly, what other technologies did the ancient world possess that we've completely forgotten? The device suggests that our ancestors were far more scientifically advanced than we've ever imagined. The mystery deepens when we consider that no other artifacts like the Antikythera mechanism have ever been found. If the ancient Greeks could build one sophisticated computer, why aren't there others? Did this represent the pinnacle of a lost technological tradition? Or was it the work of an individual genius whose knowledge died with them? From ancient technology to modern disappearances, the case of Frederick Valentich continues to baffle investigators 45 years after it happened. On October 21, 1978, the 20-year-old pilot was flying his Cessna aircraft over Bass Strait between mainland Australia and Tasmania when he radioed air traffic control with a disturbing message. Valentich reported seeing an unidentified aircraft with 4 bright lights hovering above him. He described the object as metallic and unlike anything he'd ever seen. The craft seemed to be playing games with him, he said, orbiting his plane at high speed. His final transmission was chilling. He reported that his engine was running roughly and that the strange object was approaching him again. Then came 17 seconds of strange metallic scraping sounds before the radio went dead. Neither Valentich nor his aircraft were ever found, despite an extensive search covering over 1,000 square miles of ocean. No wreckage, no oil slick, no trace whatsoever. It's as if both pilot and plane simply vanished into thin air. What makes this case particularly compelling is Valentich's credibility. He was an experienced pilot with no history of mental illness or erratic behaviour. The weather conditions were clear, and his aircraft was in perfect working order. Air traffic controllers confirmed that no other aircraft were in the area at the time. So what did Frederick Valentich encounter in those final moments, and where did he go? The official investigation concluded that the pilot became disoriented and crashed into the sea. But this explanation fails to account for the mysterious aircraft he described, the strange sounds recorded on the radio, or the complete lack of wreckage. Some researchers suggest he encountered an experimental military aircraft. Others believe he stumbled upon something far more extraordinary. Speaking of things that shouldn't exist, let's examine the Voynich manuscript. This medieval document has been called the world's most mysterious book, and for good reason. Written in an unknown language using an unidentified alphabet, it's filled with bizarre illustrations that seem to depict plants, astronomical charts, and human figures that exist nowhere else in recorded history. The manuscript contains over 200 pages of text that follows consistent grammatical patterns, suggesting it's a real language rather than random gibberish. But despite being studied by the world's top cryptographers, linguists, and codebreakers for over a century, not a single word has been definitively translated. The illustrations are equally baffling. The botanical section shows plants that don't match any known species. The astronomical pages contain diagrams that don't correspond to any recognized star charts. The biological section depicts nude figures in strange poses, connected by networks of tubes and surrounded by what appears to be flowing liquid. Carbon dating places the manuscript's creation sometime in the early 15th century. But who wrote it? What language is it in? And what knowledge does it contain? Some scholars believe it's an elaborate hoax created by a medieval con artist. Others think it might be written in a constructed language or code. The most intriguing possibility is that it represents genuine knowledge about subjects we haven't yet discovered. What's particularly frustrating about the Voynich manuscript is that it appears to contain systematic information. The text is organized into clear sections. The illustrations are detailed and consistent. Everything about it suggests the work of someone trying to communicate real knowledge. But that knowledge remains locked away, as impenetrable today as it was 600 years ago. These mysteries share something profound in common. They all challenge our basic assumptions about what's possible. The Tao's hum suggests that reality might be more subjective than we think. The brown mountain lights hint at forms of energy or consciousness we don't understand. The Antikythera mechanism forces us to reconsider the capabilities of ancient civilizations. Frederick Valentich's disappearance raises questions about what might be sharing our skies, and the Voynich manuscript reminds us that entire systems of knowledge can be completely lost to time. But we're just getting started. What we've covered so far barely scratches the surface of the unexplained phenomena that continue to puzzle researchers worldwide. From objects that move on their own to places where the laws of physics seem to break down, from creatures that shouldn't exist to technologies that predate their supposed invention by centuries. The deeper we dig into these mysteries, the more we realize how little we truly understand about the world around us. Each unexplained phenomenon opens new questions, reveals new possibilities, and challenges us to expand our definition of what's real and what's possible. The next mystery takes us to the vast emptiness of space, where something impossible has been happening for decades. Radio telescopes around the world have been detecting fast radio bursts, or FRBs, that shouldn't exist according to our current understanding of physics. These are incredibly powerful pulses of radio energy that last only milliseconds, but release more energy than our sun produces in an entire day. What makes these bursts truly mystifying is their origin. They come from billions of light years away, from regions of space where nothing should be capable of generating such immense power. And here's the really strange part. Some of these bursts are repeating in patterns that suggest they might be artificial. The first fast radio burst was discovered by accident in 2007 when astronomers were analyzing old data. Since then, we've detected hundreds more, each one raising new questions about what could possibly create such phenomena. The energy required is so enormous that scientists have proposed everything from colliding neutron stars to evaporating black holes to explain them. But the most intriguing possibility is also the most unsettling. Some researchers suggest these bursts might be technosignatures, evidence of advanced alien civilizations using unimaginably powerful technology. The precise timing and repetitive nature of certain FRBs don't match any known natural phenomenon. It's as if someone or something is deliberately sending signals across the cosmic void. From the depths of space, we return to Earth and one of the most disturbing mysteries in modern history. The Dyatlov Pass incident of 1959 remains one of the most analysed and least understood disasters ever recorded. 9 experienced hikers died under circumstances so bizarre that the official investigation was classified for decades. The group was found scattered across a remote mountain pass in the Ural Mountains of Russia. Their tent had been cut open from the inside, and the hikers had fled into the freezing wilderness wearing minimal clothing. Some had died from hypothermia, but others showed signs of massive internal trauma with no external wounds. One victim was missing her tongue and eyes. The scene defied all logic. These were expert mountaineers who knew better than to abandon their shelter in sub-zero temperatures. The injuries on some bodies were so severe that investigators compared them to the damage from a car crash. Yet there were no external wounds. Radiation was detected on some clothing. Strange lights were reported in the sky that night. For 60 years, theories have ranged from avalanche to military weapons testing to animal attacks. But none adequately explain all the evidence. How do you sustain massive internal injuries without external wounds? Why would experienced hikers cut their way out of their tent and run into deadly cold? What could cause such panic that survival instincts were completely overridden? The Soviet government's handling of the case only deepened the mystery. Files were sealed, witnesses were silenced, and the area was closed to expeditions for 3 years. When documents were finally released decades later, they raised more questions than answers. The official cause of death was listed as compelling unknown force, which explains nothing at all. Recent investigations have proposed new theories involving infrasound, katabatic winds, or even military parachute mines. But each explanation fails to account for crucial aspects of the evidence. The Dyatlov Pass incident remains a perfect storm of inexplicable circumstances that seems to resist every attempt at rational explanation. Speaking of things that resist explanation, let's discuss the Nazca lines of Peru. Carved into the desert floor between 2000 and 1500 years ago, these massive geoglyphs depict animals, plants, and geometric shapes that can only be properly viewed from high altitude. The question that has puzzled researchers for decades is simple. Why would ancient people create artwork that they could never see? The lines themselves are marvels of precision. Some stretch for miles in perfectly straight lines across the desert. The animal figures, including a spider, hummingbird, and monkey, are drawn with mathematical accuracy that would be challenging even with modern surveying equipment. The largest figures span over 600 feet from end to end. What makes the Nazca lines truly mysterious is the planning and coordination required for their creation. Without the ability to see their work from above, how did the ancient Nazca people ensure their designs were accurate? The precision suggests they had some method of aerial perspective, but no evidence exists of ancient flight technology. Theories about their purpose are equally puzzling. Some researchers believe they were astronomical calendars aligned with celestial events. Others suggest they were ritual pathways or offerings to sky gods. The most controversial theory proposes they were landing strips for ancient astronauts, though this explanation lacks archaeological support. The preservation of the lines adds another layer of mystery. The Nazca Desert is one of the driest places on Earth, with almost no rainfall or wind erosion. It's as if nature itself conspired to preserve these ancient artworks for modern discovery. But what message were the creators trying to convey, and to whom? From ancient mysteries, we move to something far more recent and equally baffling. The Hessdalen lights of Norway have been appearing with such regularity that scientists have established a permanent monitoring station to study them. Since the early 1980s, these unexplained lights have been dancing through the valley with clockwork precision. Unlike other light phenomena, the Hessdalen lights have been extensively documented with multiple types of scientific equipment. They appear as glowing orbs, sometimes white, sometimes colored, that move through the valley in ways that defy conventional explanation. They can hover motionless for hours, then suddenly accelerate to incredible speeds. They've been tracked on radar, photographed with infrared cameras, and analysed with spectrum analyzers. What sets Hessdalen apart is the scientific rigour applied to studying the phenomenon. This isn't folklore or wishful thinking. Multiple research teams have documented lights that demonstrate impossible flight characteristics. They make no sound, leave no trail, and seem to respond to the presence of observers. The lights show intelligence in their behavior. They've been observed to split into multiple objects, merge back together, and even appear to play games with aircraft that enter the valley. Some researchers have reported that the lights seem to react to laser pointers and radio transmissions, as if they're aware of human attempts at communication. Dr. Erling Strand, who has studied the phenomenon for decades, describes lights that can appear solid on radar one moment and completely transparent the next. The energy readings don't match any known technology or natural phenomenon. After 40 years of investigation, scientists are no closer to explaining what creates the Hessdalen lights. But perhaps the most unsettling mystery involves something much closer to home: the Max Headroom broadcast intrusion of 1987. On November 22nd, 2 Chicago television stations were hijacked by an unknown individual wearing a Max Headroom mask. The intrusion lasted only minutes but created a mystery that remains unsolved nearly 4 decades later. The first hijacking occurred during the evening news on WGN-TV. The signal was briefly overridden by a figure in a Max Headroom mask, swaying silently against a metallic background. The second intrusion was more elaborate, lasting 90 seconds during a broadcast on WTW. The masked figure delivered a rambling, bizarre monologue before the signal was restored. What makes this case extraordinary is the technical sophistication required. To override broadcast signals, the hijacker needed powerful equipment, detailed knowledge of transmission systems, and access to high-elevation transmission points. The FBI investigation found no leads, despite the complexity of the operation suggesting insider knowledge. The content of the second broadcast was equally mystifying. The hijacker made references to Max Headroom commercials, sang the theme song, and made cryptic statements that seemed like inside jokes. The performance was simultaneously childish and sophisticated, suggesting either a very clever individual or a group effort. Despite extensive investigation, no one was ever identified or arrested. The case remains one of the most technically impressive unsolved crimes in broadcasting history. Who had the knowledge and resources to pull off such a stunt? What was the motive, and how did they disappear so completely? The mysteries we've explored so far share a common thread. They all challenge our understanding of what should be possible, whether it's lights that behave intelligently, ancient technology that predates its time, or phenomena that can only be partially observed. Each case forces us to question the boundaries of reality. But here at Dream Vault Mysteries, we're not content to simply catalogue these enigmas. We're driven to dig deeper, to explore the implications, and to consider what these mysteries might reveal about the true nature of our world. Because sometimes the most important discoveries come not from finding answers, but from learning to ask better questions. What's particularly disturbing about these mysteries is how they seem to operate just beyond the edge of our perception, as if reality itself has blind spots that we're only beginning to discover. And the deeper we venture into these unexplained phenomena, the more we realize that our world might be far stranger than we ever imagined. If you're finding these mysteries as captivating as I am, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button right now. We're just getting started on this journey into the unexplained, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. The notification bell will make sure you catch every single mystery we uncover here at Dream Vault Mysteries. Now, let's dive into something that challenges everything we think we know about human consciousness itself. The phenomenon of terminal lucidity has left medical professionals completely baffled for generations. Patients who have been in vegetative states for years, showing no signs of awareness or cognitive function, suddenly become completely lucid and coherent in their final days or hours before death. These aren't isolated incidents or misunderstood observations. Documented cases span centuries and include patients with severe dementia, brain tumors, and neurodegenerative diseases who should have been incapable of complex thought. Yet somehow, in their final moments, they regain full mental clarity, recognize family members they hadn't acknowledged in years, and engage in meaningful conversations before peacefully passing away. And Dr. Michael Nahm, who has extensively studied this phenomenon, describes cases where patients with advanced Alzheimer's disease suddenly remember their entire life history. They speak coherently about events from decades past, express love for family members, and demonstrate cognitive abilities that their diseased brains should no longer possess. Then, within hours or days, they die peacefully. The medical establishment has no explanation for terminal lucidity. If the brain is severely damaged by disease, how can consciousness suddenly return? What mechanism allows a dying person to access memories and cognitive functions that should be permanently lost? Some researchers suggest it's the brain's final surge of activity before death. Others propose that consciousness might not be entirely dependent on brain function. The implications are staggering. If terminal lucidity is real, and the evidence suggests it is, then our understanding of consciousness, memory, and the relationship between mind and brain might be fundamentally flawed. We might be dealing with aspects of human existence that transcend physical biology. From the mysteries of consciousness, we turn to one of the most documented yet unexplained phenomena in modern history: cattle mutilations. Since the 1960s, ranchers across North America have discovered their livestock killed under circumstances that defy conventional explanation. These aren't typical predator attacks or acts of vandalism. The precision and strangeness of these mutilations suggest something far more disturbing. The pattern is always eerily similar. Cattle are found dead with specific organs removed using surgical precision. Eyes, tongues, reproductive organs, and others are extracted through small, perfectly circular incisions that show no signs of tool marks or tearing. The cuts are so precise they appear to have been made with laser technology, yet they occurred on remote ranches with no access to such equipment. What makes these cases truly bizarre is the complete absence of blood. The animals are drained entirely, yet there's no blood found on the ground around the carcasses. Scavengers and insects avoid the bodies, sometimes for weeks. No footprints or tire tracks are found near the scene, even in soft mud or snow. Linda Moulton Howe, an investigative journalist who has studied thousands of these cases, describes mutilations that would require sophisticated medical knowledge and technology. The precision of the cuts, the selective removal of specific organs, and the apparent use of heat-based instruments suggest an intelligence behind these acts. But who or what possesses such capabilities and chooses to use them on livestock? The FBI investigated cattle mutilations in the late 70s and found no evidence of cult activity, predators, or conventional explanations. Local law enforcement agencies continue to document new cases regularly, but they're no closer to solving the mystery than they were 50 years ago. The phenomenon persists, leaving ranchers traumatized and investigators baffled. Speaking of persistent mysteries, the moving stones of Death Valley present us with one of geology's most perplexing puzzles. In the remote racetrack playa of California's Death Valley, massive boulders weighing hundreds of pounds leave long, straight trails across the desert floor. The stones appear to move by themselves, leaving clear evidence of their journey, but never revealing how they travel. For decades, these sailing stones stumped scientists completely. The trails are undeniable evidence that the rocks have moved, sometimes for hundreds of yards in perfectly straight lines. Some stones have zigzagged across the playa, while others have made sharp 90-degree turns. The trails can persist for years in the dry desert environment, creating a mysterious record of impossible movement. What makes this phenomenon so maddening is that no one has ever witnessed the stones actually moving. They sit motionless for years, then suddenly new trails appear, indicating that somehow, some way, these massive rocks have relocated themselves across the flat desert surface. The forces required to move such heavy objects should leave obvious evidence, but the playa shows no signs of the winds, floods, or other natural phenomena that might explain the movement. Recent scientific investigations have proposed that rare combinations of rain, freezing temperatures, and wind might create thin sheets of ice that could push the stones. But this theory doesn't fully explain all the observed movement patterns, particularly the precise straight lines and sharp turns that suggest more deliberate motion than random natural forces would create. The mystery deepened when researchers placed GPS tracking devices on some of the stones and discovered that the rocks had moved even when conditions didn't match the proposed ice sheet theory. Some stones moved during periods of warm weather with no precipitation. Others travelled in patterns that seemed to defy the natural forces that supposedly cause their movement. From moving rocks to moving lights, the Marfa lights of Texas have been mystifying observers since the late 1800s. Unlike other light phenomena we've discussed, the Marfa lights appear with such regularity that the town has built an official viewing area for tourists. Yet despite being one of the most accessible, mysterious light displays in the world, no one can explain what causes them. The lights appear as glowing orbs that dance across the horizon near Marfa, Texas. They split apart, merge together, change colors from white to red to blue, and move in ways that seem to demonstrate intelligence. Some lights appear to respond to car headlights or flashlight signals from observers. Others perform elaborate aerial ballets that can last for hours. What sets the Marfa lights apart is their consistency. They appear almost nightly when atmospheric conditions are right, making them one of the most reliable unexplained phenomena on Earth. Scientists have studied them extensively, using everything from spectrum analyzers to high-powered telescopes. The results only deepen the mystery. The lights don't correspond to any known atmospheric phenomenon. They're not ball lightning, swamp gas, or reflected car headlights, as some skeptics suggest. The movements are too coordinated, too purposeful to be random natural events. Some researchers have documented lights that appear to play games with observers, mimicking their movements or responding to attempts at communication. Dr. Carl Stephan from Texas State University has spent years studying the Marfa lights and admits that conventional science cannot explain them. The lights demonstrate behaviors that suggest intelligence while producing energy signatures that don't match any known technology or natural phenomenon. They exist in a category all their own, defying every attempt at rational explanation. But perhaps the most unsettling mystery involves something that happened much more recently and closer to home than we might like to admit. The Havana syndrome, first reported in Cuba in 2016, describes a collection of symptoms experienced by American diplomats and intelligence officers that suggest they were attacked by some unknown weapon or technology. Victims report sudden onset of severe headaches, nausea, hearing loss, and cognitive impairment. The symptoms often begin with a strange sound, described as piercing or grinding, followed by intense pressure in the head. Some victims suffer permanent brain damage and are unable to return to work. Medical examinations reveal brain injuries consistent with traumatic impact, yet there's no evidence of physical trauma. What makes Havana syndrome particularly disturbing is its apparent targeted nature. The victims are typically government employees working in sensitive positions. The attacks seem to occur in specific locations and affect only certain individuals, suggesting a deliberate targeting system. Similar incidents have been reported at US embassies and facilities worldwide, indicating a sophisticated and persistent threat. The technology required to cause such symptoms remains completely unknown. Microwave weapons, sonic devices, and directed energy systems have all been proposed, but no existing technology matches the reported effects. The attackers, if they exist, possess capabilities that are beyond current scientific understanding. Government investigations have found no definitive cause, despite extensive research involving multiple intelligence agencies. The CIA, FBI, and State Department have all studied the phenomenon without reaching conclusions about what's causing these attacks or who might be responsible. The mystery persists as more cases are reported from locations around the globe. These mysteries force us to confront an uncomfortable truth. There are aspects of our world that remain completely beyond our understanding. From consciousness that transcends brain death to technologies that exist without explanation, from natural phenomena that behave intelligently to attacks by unknown weapons, we're surrounded by enigmas that challenge our most basic assumptions about reality. Here at Dream Vault Mysteries, we believe that acknowledging these unknowns isn't a sign of ignorance, but of intellectual honesty. Science advances by confronting phenomena it cannot yet explain, not by dismissing them because they don't fit current models. Every mystery we've explored today represents an opportunity to expand human knowledge and understanding. The question isn't whether these phenomena are real. The evidence clearly demonstrates that they are. The question is what they reveal about the true nature of our reality. Are we dealing with natural processes we haven't discovered yet? Unknown technologies developed by human or non-human intelligence, or aspects of existence that transcend our current scientific paradigms entirely? As we continue this journey into the unexplained, remember that every mystery we encounter is a doorway to new possibilities. Behind each unexplained phenomenon lies the potential for revolutionary discoveries that could transform our understanding of physics, consciousness, technology, and life itself. The final mysteries we're about to explore will challenge everything you think you know about the boundaries between the possible and impossible. They'll force you to question not just what you believe about the world, but what you believe about the nature of belief itself. Because sometimes the most profound truths lie hidden in the spaces between what we know and what we dare to imagine. The Oakville blobs of Washington State present us with one of the most bizarre environmental mysteries ever documented. On August 7th, 1994, the residents of Oakville woke up to find their town covered in a strange, gelatinous substance that had fallen from the sky like rain. But this wasn't water. This was something that defied every natural explanation meteorologists could offer. The blobs were translucent, jelly-like masses ranging in size from grains of rice to small marbles. They covered everything: cars, rooftops, sidewalks, creating a slippery, alien landscape that left the entire community baffled. But the mystery deepened when people began falling ill after coming into contact with the substance. Dozens of residents reported flu-like symptoms, severe fatigue, and disorientation within hours of exposure. Pets and livestock also became sick, with several animals dying mysteriously. The local hospital was overwhelmed with patients suffering from identical symptoms that had no apparent cause. When samples were sent to laboratories for analysis, the results were even more disturbing. The blobs contained human white blood cells and bacteria typically found in the human digestive system. How could biological material associated with human beings be falling from the sky over a small Washington town? The implications were staggering and terrifying. The official explanation suggested the substance might have come from military aircraft dumping waste materials, but the military denied any flights over the area that day. Weather services confirmed no unusual atmospheric conditions that could account for the phenomenon. The substance appeared to have materialized from nowhere, carrying biological components that shouldn't exist in airborne form. What makes the Oakville incident particularly unsettling is how quickly it was forgotten by mainstream media and government agencies. Despite affecting hundreds of people and causing multiple deaths among local animals, the story disappeared from public attention within weeks. Official investigations were quietly closed, and residents were left with no answers about what had contaminated their community. From mysterious substances to impossible architecture, we encounter the Coral Castle of Florida, a monument that challenges everything we know about ancient construction techniques. Built single-handedly by Edward Leeds Scullin between 1920 and 1951, this structure consists of massive coral blocks that weigh up to 30 tons each. The mystery isn't just what Leeds Scullin built, but how he built it. Leeds Scullin was a small man, barely over 5 feet tall and weighing only 100 pounds. He had no formal education in engineering or construction, no access to modern machinery, and no help from assistants. Yet somehow he quarried, transported, and precisely positioned coral blocks that would challenge modern construction crews equipped with cranes and heavy equipment. The precision of the construction is remarkable. Blocks fit together so perfectly that you can't slip a knife blade between them. Some stones are balanced so precisely that they can be moved with the touch of a finger despite weighing several tons. The entire structure demonstrates an understanding of physics and engineering that seems impossible for one man working alone with primitive tools. Leeds Scullin claimed he understood the secrets of how the ancient Egyptians built the pyramids. He spoke cryptically about magnetic forces and the true nature of matter and energy. Neighbors reported seeing him working at night, apparently moving massive stones with ease, but no one ever witnessed his actual construction methods. He worked in complete secrecy, covering his activities whenever curious observers approached. When questioned about his techniques, Leeds Scullin would only say that he understood the relationship between magnetism and gravity. He built crude electrical devices and spoke about cosmic forces that modern science doesn't recognize. Some researchers believe he discovered principles of physics that mainstream science has overlooked or suppressed. The Coral Castle stands today as a testament to impossible achievement. Engineers who study the structure admit they don't understand how it was built. The techniques required to move such massive stones with precision are beyond what one person should be capable of, especially using only simple tools and pulleys. Speaking of impossible achievements, the Baghdad Battery continues to perplex archaeologists and historians alike. Discovered in 1936 near Baghdad, Iraq, this ancient artifact appears to be an electrochemical cell capable of generating electric current. The problem is that it predates the supposed invention of the battery by over 1500 years. The device consists of a clay jar containing a copper cylinder and an iron rod. When filled with an acidic solution like vinegar, it produces a measurable electric current. Multiple replicas have been constructed, all proving that the ancient design is indeed functional as a primitive battery. But why would ancient civilizations need electrical power? Some researchers suggest the batteries were used for electroplating gold onto silver jewelry, a process that requires steady electrical current. Others propose they might have been used for medical treatments or religious ceremonies. The most intriguing possibility is that they represent evidence of advanced ancient technology that has been lost to history. What's particularly puzzling is that no other electrical devices from the same period have been discovered. If ancient people understood electrical principles well enough to build batteries, where are the other applications of this knowledge? The Baghdad Battery stands alone, an anachronistic artifact that shouldn't exist according to conventional historical timelines. The discovery raises fundamental questions about the technological capabilities of ancient civilizations. How much knowledge have we lost over the centuries? What other advanced technologies might have existed in antiquity that we've forgotten or dismissed as impossible? The Baghdad battery suggests that human innovation might be far older than we've ever imagined. From ancient technology to modern mysteries, the phenomenon of spontaneous human combustion has documented cases that continue to baffle investigators worldwide. Victims are found burned to death under circumstances that defy every known principle of fire dynamics. Bodies are reduced to ash, while surrounding furniture remains undamaged. Clothing is burned away completely, yet nearby newspapers remain unsinged. The cases follow a disturbing pattern. Victims are typically found in their homes, reduced to a small pile of ash with only the lower legs and feet remaining intact. The fires appear to start from within the body itself, burning at temperatures far exceeding what normal house fires can achieve. Yet the destruction is contained to the victim, leaving the immediate surroundings virtually untouched. Fire investigators describe scenes that violate basic physics. To reduce a human body to ash requires sustained temperatures of over 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Such intense heat should ignite everything in the surrounding area, creating massive structural fires. Instead, investigators find localized burning that seems to have originated from the victim's torso and spread outward only a few feet. Dr. John DeHaan, a leading fire investigator, has studied dozens of these cases and admits they challenge everything he knows about fire behavior. The selective burning patterns, the extreme temperatures required, and the apparent internal ignition source don't match any known fire dynamics. Traditional explanations like clothing catching fire from cigarettes or electrical sources can't account for the complete cremation of human bodies. Some researchers propose that certain individuals might be susceptible to a rare physiological condition that makes them prone to internal combustion. Others suggest unknown chemical reactions within the human body might create flammable conditions under specific circumstances, but no scientific mechanism has been identified that could cause a human being to spontaneously burst into flames. The mystery deepens when considering the psychological profiles of victims. Many were elderly, living alone, and in poor health. Some had been drinking alcohol before their deaths, but millions of people fit these same criteria without ever experiencing spontaneous combustion. What makes certain individuals susceptible to this impossible phenomenon? From fire to water, we encounter the Devil's Kettle Falls in Minnesota, where half of a powerful waterfall simply vanishes into the earth and never reappears. The Brule River splits at Judge C.R. Magny State Park, with one channel continuing downstream normally, while the other plunges into a deep pothole and disappears completely. Hydrologists have tried for decades to trace where the missing water goes. They've poured dye into the vanishing stream, dropped ping-pong balls, even used sophisticated flow measurement equipment. Nothing that enters the Devil's Kettle has ever been recovered downstream. The water simply vanishes as if it's falling into another dimension. The volume of water disappearing is substantial. During peak flow, thousands of gallons per minute pour into the pothole with no corresponding increase in water levels anywhere downstream. Underground rivers, hidden aquifers, and deep cave systems have all been proposed as explanations, but geological surveys have found no evidence of such formations in the area. What makes this mystery particularly maddening is that it violates basic principles of hydrology. Water doesn't just disappear, it has to go somewhere. The missing flow from Devil's Kettle represents a significant volume that should be detectable somewhere in the regional water system. Yet despite extensive investigation, no trace of the vanished water has ever been found. Recent studies using advanced underwater exploration techniques have attempted to map the pothole's depth and structure. Divers have descended as far as safety allows, but the hole appears to continue indefinitely into the bedrock. Sonar equipment has failed to locate a bottom or identify where the water might be flowing. The Devil's Kettle challenges our understanding of basic physics and geology. Where does the water go? How can such a large volume of liquid simply vanish without trace? The answers remain as elusive as the missing water itself. From vanishing water to vanishing people, we encounter the Michigan Triangle, a region of Lake Michigan where ships, aircraft, and people have been disappearing under mysterious circumstances for over a century. Similar to the more famous Bermuda Triangle, this area of the Great Lakes has claimed dozens of vessels and hundreds of lives in incidents that defy conventional explanation. The triangle's boundaries are roughly defined by Michigan, Wisconsin, and a point in the middle of Lake Michigan. Within this area, ships have vanished without sending distress signals, aircraft have disappeared from radar without explanation, and rescue teams have found no wreckage despite extensive searches. The lake's relatively shallow depth should make recovery of debris routine, yet many craft have simply vanished completely. One of the most famous cases involves Flight 2501, a Northwest Orient Airlines aircraft that disappeared over Lake Michigan in June 1950. The plane was carrying 58 passengers and crew when it vanished from radar during a routine flight. Despite being one of the largest search operations in aviation history, no trace of the aircraft or its occupants was ever found. More recently, smaller aircraft and pleasure boats continue to disappear in the triangle with disturbing regularity. Coast Guard records document numerous cases where vessels have vanished in calm weather with no mechanical problems or distress signals. Search teams find nothing but empty water where craft were last known to be operating. Local maritime workers report unusual phenomena in the triangle area. Compass needles spin wildly, electronic equipment malfunctions, and some describe seeing strange lights beneath the water's surface. These accounts echo reports from other mysterious disappearance zones around the world, suggesting similar unknown forces might be at work. The Great Lakes Triangle mysteries raise questions about whether certain geographic areas might be prone to unexplained phenomena. Is there something unique about this region's geology, magnetic fields, or atmospheric conditions that could cause ships and planes to vanish? Or are we dealing with forces beyond current scientific understanding? Here at Dream Vault Mysteries, we've explored phenomena that challenge every assumption about the world we think we know, from substances falling from the sky that contain human biological material to ancient batteries that shouldn't exist, from people who spontaneously combust to waterfalls that lead to nowhere. Each mystery forces us to expand our definition of what's possible. But these aren't just curiosities or anomalies to be dismissed. They're doorways to understanding aspects of reality that mainstream science has yet to acknowledge. Every unexplained phenomenon represents a crack in our current understanding of physics, biology, consciousness, and the nature of existence itself. What's particularly striking about these mysteries is how they persist despite our technological advancement. We live in an age of satellite surveillance, global communications, and sophisticated scientific instruments, yet we're surrounded by phenomena that remain as inexplicable today as they were centuries ago. Some mysteries seem to become more puzzling the more we study them. The implications are profound. If reality includes aspects that transcend our current scientific models, what else might be possible? How many other mysteries are hiding in plain sight, dismissed because they don't fit our preconceived notions of how the world should work? As we approach the final mysteries in our exploration, remember that each unexplained phenomenon we've encountered represents more than just an interesting puzzle. They're evidence that our universe is far stranger, more complex, and more wonderful than we've ever imagined. They remind us that despite all our technological progress and scientific advancement, we're still surrounded by profound mysteries that humble our understanding and challenge our assumptions about the nature of reality itself. The journey into the unexplained isn't just about cataloguing strange events or unusual phenomena. It's about maintaining the courage to question what we think we know and the wisdom to remain open to possibilities that transcend our current understanding. Because sometimes the most important discoveries come not from finding answers, but from learning to ask better questions about the mysterious world we inhabit. The final mysteries we're about to explore will shatter everything you thought you knew about the boundaries of human experience. These aren't just strange occurrences or unusual events. They're phenomena that suggest reality itself might be far more malleable than we've ever dared to imagine. Our next mystery takes us deep into the Amazon rainforest, where indigenous tribes have reported encounters with beings that shouldn't exist according to conventional biology. The Mapinguari, described by local communities for generations, is said to be a massive, ape-like creature covered in reddish fur with an impenetrable hide that deflects arrows and bullets. But what makes these accounts truly extraordinary isn't just the creature's description, it's the consistency of reports across isolated tribes that have no contact with each other. Multiple expeditions have documented massive footprints, claw marks on trees, and a distinctive musky odor that lingers in areas where the creature has allegedly been sighted. The prints measure over 2 feet long and show anatomical features that don't match any known primate species. Tree damage suggests something with incredible strength, capable of snapping thick branches and gouging deep marks into hardwood bark. Dr. David Oren, an ornithologist who has studied these reports extensively, believes the Mapinguari might be a surviving ground sloth, a massive prehistoric mammal thought to have gone extinct over 10,000 years ago. But even this explanation fails to account for all the reported characteristics, particularly the creature's alleged bulletproof hide and its apparent intelligence in avoiding human contact. What's particularly compelling about the Mapinguari reports is their integration into indigenous culture. These aren't recent fabrications or tourist attractions. The creature appears in traditional songs, stories, and spiritual beliefs that predate contact with the outside world. The consistency of descriptions across different tribes suggests either a shared cultural memory of an actual creature or encounters with something that continues to exist in the deepest parts of the rainforest. From the depths of the Amazon, we travel to the skies above Mexico, where thousands of witnesses have reported seeing massive triangular aircraft moving silently through the atmosphere. The Mexico UFO flap of 1991 began during a solar eclipse and has continued for over 3 decades, making it one of the longest documented series of unexplained aerial phenomena in modern history. The objects are consistently described as enormous triangular craft, sometimes stretching several city blocks in length. They move without sound, hover motionless for extended periods, then accelerate to impossible speeds. What sets the Mexico sightings apart is the sheer number of witnesses and the quality of documentation. Thousands of people have filmed these objects, including news crews, government officials, and military personnel. Jaime Maussan, a Mexican journalist who has investigated these sightings for decades, has collected over 5,000 pieces of video evidence. The footage shows objects that demonstrate flight characteristics beyond any known aircraft technology. They change shape, split apart, and rejoin, and emit unusual energy signatures that don't match conventional propulsion systems. Mexican Air Force pilots have officially acknowledged tracking these objects on radar and attempting to intercept them. The craft consistently outmaneuver military aircraft, performing maneuvers that would be impossible for any human pilot to survive. Some objects have been tracked at speeds exceeding Mach 5 while making 90-degree turns that should destroy any physical structure. The Mexican government's response to these sightings has been unusually transparent compared to other countries. Officials have released radar data, pilot testimonies, and gun camera footage showing encounters with unexplained aircraft. This openness has allowed researchers unprecedented access to document phenomena that remain classified or denied elsewhere. But the Mexico UFO mystery raises disturbing questions about what's sharing our airspace. If these objects are of human origin, they represent technology far beyond publicly acknowledged capabilities. If they're something else entirely, we're dealing with intelligences that possess capabilities we can barely comprehend. Speaking of incomprehensible phenomena, the Tord Man incident remains one of the most puzzling cases of interdimensional travel ever documented. In July 1954, a well-dressed man arrived at Tokyo's Haneda Airport carrying a passport from a country called Taured. The problem was that no such country existed anywhere on Earth. The man appeared completely normal, spoke multiple languages fluently, and carried legitimate-looking travel documents. But when immigration officials examined his passport, they found it issued by the Kingdom of Taured, a nation supposedly located between France and Spain. When shown maps of Europe, the man became confused and insisted that Taured had existed for over 1,000 years. His luggage contained currency from multiple real countries, but also money from banks that didn't exist. Hotel reservations in his name were confirmed at real establishments, but the addresses he provided for business contacts led to empty lots or buildings that had never housed the companies he claimed to represent. Immigration officials detained the man overnight while they investigated his claims. He was placed in a secure hotel room with guards posted outside. The next morning, the room was empty. The man had vanished completely, along with all his documentation. The hotel room was on the 15th floor with no balcony, and the guards swore no one had entered or left the room during the night. The Tord incident suggests the possibility of parallel dimensions or alternate realities where history unfolded differently. If such realities exist, what prevents people from occasionally slipping between them? The man's genuine confusion and the authentic appearance of his documentation suggest he wasn't a con artist, but someone who had somehow arrived in the wrong version of Earth. From interdimensional travelers to interdimensional locations, we encounter the mystery of the Overtoun Bridge in Scotland. This seemingly ordinary stone bridge has become known as the place where dogs commit suicide. Since the 1960s, over 600 dogs have leaped to their deaths from the same spot on the bridge, displaying behavior that defies every understanding of animal psychology. The dogs that jump are typically long-nosed breeds like collies, labradors, and retrievers. They approach the same section of the bridge, between the final two parapets on the right-hand side, then suddenly leap over the edge without hesitation. The falls are 50 feet onto jagged rocks below, and most dogs don't survive the impact. What makes this phenomenon truly inexplicable is the behavior of the dogs before they jump. Witnesses describe animals that appear to be in a trance-like state, completely focused on something beyond the bridge. They show no signs of distress or fear, simply walk to the edge and leap as if drawn by an irresistible force. Local veterinarians and animal behaviorists have studied the phenomenon extensively, but found no explanation for the suicidal behavior. Dogs don't typically commit suicide, and the bridge shows no obvious hazards or stimuli that would cause such extreme reactions. The consistency of the location where the dogs jump suggests something specific to that spot is triggering their behavior. Some researchers have proposed that unique scents carried by air currents at that location might overwhelm the dog's senses. Others suggest infrasound or electromagnetic anomalies could be affecting their behavior. But none of these theories adequately explain why only certain breeds are affected or why the compulsion to jump is so powerful. The Overtoun Bridge mystery highlights how little we understand about animal perception and behavior. If dogs are detecting something at that location that humans cannot perceive, what does that reveal about the limitations of our own senses? Are we surrounded by phenomena that other species can detect, but we remain completely unaware of? Here at Dream Vault Mysteries, we've taken you on a journey through phenomena that challenge the very foundations of what we consider real and possible. From creatures that may be living fossils, to aircraft that defy physics, from interdimensional travelers to bridges that somehow compel animals to self-destruction, each mystery forces us to confront the limitations of our understanding. But perhaps the most unsettling realization is this: if reality includes all these unexplained phenomena, what else might be possible that we haven't even begun to imagine? How many other mysteries are occurring around us every day that we dismiss, ignore, or simply fail to notice because they don't fit our preconceived notions of how the world should work? The mysteries we've explored today aren't just curiosities or anomalies to be catalogued and forgotten. They're evidence that our universe is far more complex, far more mysterious, and far more wonderful than mainstream science has been willing to acknowledge. They remind us that despite all our technological advancement and scientific progress, we're still surrounded by phenomena that humble our understanding and challenge our assumptions about the nature of reality itself. Each unexplained event we've encountered represents a crack in our current worldview, a glimpse into aspects of existence that transcend our current scientific models. Whether we're dealing with unknown life forms, advanced technologies, parallel dimensions, or forces beyond our comprehension, these mysteries share one common thread. They all suggest that reality is far stranger than we've ever dared to imagine. The question isn't whether these phenomena are real. The evidence clearly demonstrates that they are. The question is what they reveal about the true nature of our existence. Are we living in a universe where the impossible is merely the not yet understood, where the boundaries between dimensions are more porous than we realize, where consciousness and reality interact in ways we've never considered? As we conclude our exploration of these 15 unsolved mysteries, remember that acknowledging the unknown isn't a sign of ignorance, but of intellectual honesty. Science advances by confronting phenomena it cannot yet explain, not by dismissing them because they challenge existing paradigms. Every mystery we've encountered today represents an opportunity to expand human knowledge and push the boundaries of what we consider possible. The journey into the unexplained isn't just about satisfying curiosity or collecting strange stories. It's about maintaining the courage to question everything we think we know and the wisdom to remain open to possibilities that transcend our current understanding. Because sometimes the most profound truths are hidden in the spaces between what we know and what we're brave enough to explore. These mysteries remind us that we live in a universe of infinite possibilities, where the line between the known and unknown is constantly shifting. They challenge us to expand our definition of reality, to question our assumptions, and to remain open to the extraordinary possibilities that surround us every day. The world is full of wonders we've yet to understand, phenomena we've yet to explain, and truths we've yet to discover. And that's exactly what makes it so fascinating. The mysteries continue, the questions remain, and the journey into the unknown never ends. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through the unexplained. If these mysteries have captured your imagination the way they've captured ours, make sure you're subscribed to Dream Vault Mysteries and hit that notification bell. We're just getting started exploring the hidden corners of our reality. And trust me, you won't want to miss what we uncover next. The universe is vast, mysterious, and full of secrets waiting to be discovered. And here at Dream Vault Mysteries, we'll never stop searching for the truth behind the impossible, the inexplicable, and the utterly extraordinary. Until next time, keep questioning, keep wondering, and keep exploring the mysteries that make our world so endlessly fascinating. The truth is, we've barely scratched the surface of what's really happening in our world. Every mystery we've explored today represents just one piece of a much larger puzzle, a puzzle that suggests our reality operates according to rules we don't yet understand. Think about what we've witnessed together: sounds that only some people can hear, lights that dance with apparent intelligence, ancient computers that shouldn't exist, people who vanish into thin air, and books written in languages that may never have been spoken by human tongues. These aren't isolated incidents or random anomalies. They're part of a pattern that points to something far more profound. What if the boundaries between dimensions are thinner than we realize? What if consciousness extends beyond the physical brain in ways we've never imagined? What if technologies existed in the ancient world that we've completely forgotten? What if we're sharing our planet with intelligences that operate just beyond our perception? The phenomena we've investigated force us to confront a humbling truth. Despite all our scientific advancement, all our technological progress, all our accumulated knowledge, we still don't understand the fundamental nature of the reality we inhabit. We're like children playing in a vast ocean, convinced we understand the water because we can splash in the shallows, while remaining completely unaware of the depths that stretch endlessly beneath us. But here's what makes these mysteries so compelling. They're not ancient history or distant legends. They're happening right now, all around us. As you watch this video, someone somewhere is experiencing something that will challenge everything they thought they knew about the world. A scientist is discovering data that doesn't fit any known theory. An investigator is documenting evidence that defies explanation. A witness is seeing something that shouldn't be possible. The Taos hum continues to torment residents who can hear it. The Brown Mountain lights still dance across the horizon. Fast radio bursts keep arriving from impossible distances in space. The Hessdalen lights maintain their mysterious vigil over a Norwegian valley. These phenomena don't pause for our understanding or wait for our acceptance. They simply continue, indifferent to our attempts to explain them away. And that persistence is perhaps the most unsettling aspect of all. These mysteries aren't going anywhere. They're woven into the fabric of our reality, challenging us to expand our understanding or remain forever puzzled by the world we call home. What's particularly fascinating is how these phenomena seem to operate just beyond the edge of our technological capability to fully document them. The Taos hum can't be recorded. The Brown Mountain lights behave differently when observed through instruments. Fast radio bursts last only milliseconds, making detailed study nearly impossible. It's as if reality itself maintains blind spots that we're only beginning to recognize. This raises profound questions about the nature of observation and measurement. If phenomena exist that our instruments can't detect or our senses can't fully perceive, how much of reality are we missing? How many other mysteries surround us every day that we simply lack the ability to recognize? The implications extend far beyond academic curiosity. If our understanding of physics, consciousness, and reality itself is fundamentally incomplete, what does that mean for our future as a species? What technologies might be possible that we haven't even imagined? What aspects of human potential remain unexplored because we've dismissed them as impossible? These mysteries also remind us of the importance of remaining humble in the face of the unknown. Throughout history, phenomena that seemed impossible eventually revealed new truths about our universe. Radio waves, electromagnetic fields, quantum mechanics, and relativity all challenged existing paradigms and expanded our understanding of what's possible. Today's mysteries may well be tomorrow's breakthrough discoveries. The strange lights that dance across mountainsides might reveal new forms of energy. The ancient technologies that predate their supposed invention might unlock forgotten knowledge about the capabilities of human civilization. The consciousness phenomena that transcend brain death might revolutionize our understanding of the mind and its relationship to physical reality. But perhaps the most important lesson these mysteries teach us is about the nature of wonder itself. In our rush to explain everything, to categorize every phenomenon and reduce every mystery to known principles, we sometimes forget that wonder is not a problem to be solved, but a gift to be cherished. The child who looks up at the stars and feels awe at the vastness of the universe isn't seeking scientific explanations. They're experiencing something far more precious, the recognition that reality is larger, stranger, and more magnificent than anything we can fully comprehend. These mysteries reconnect us with that sense of wonder, reminding us that we live in a universe full of secrets waiting to be discovered. Here at Dream Vault Mysteries, we believe that acknowledging these unknowns isn't a failure of science or reason. It's an invitation to push the boundaries of human understanding, to explore new possibilities, and to remain open to discoveries that might transform our entire worldview. Every unexplained phenomenon represents a doorway to new knowledge. Behind each mystery lies the potential for revolutionary insights that could reshape our understanding of physics, biology, consciousness, and existence itself. The question isn't whether these phenomena fit our current models of reality. The question is whether we have the courage to let them expand those models. As we stand at the threshold of new discoveries, surrounded by mysteries that humble our understanding, we're reminded that the journey of exploration never truly ends. Each answer we find reveals new questions. Each mystery we solve uncovers deeper enigmas. The more we learn about our universe, the more we realize how much we still don't know. And that's exactly as it should be. A universe without mysteries would be a universe without wonder, without possibility, without hope for new discoveries that could transform everything we think we know about reality itself. The 15 mysteries we've explored today are just the beginning. Somewhere out there, new phenomena are waiting to be discovered. New questions are waiting to be asked. New possibilities are waiting to be explored. The universe is vast, mysterious, and full of secrets that challenge our understanding and inspire our imagination. So the next time you encounter something that doesn't quite fit, something that challenges your assumptions about how the world should work, don't dismiss it too quickly. You might be witnessing the next great mystery, the next breakthrough waiting to happen, the next doorway to understanding aspects of reality we've never imagined. The mysteries continue, the questions remain, and the journey into the unknown never ends. Because in a universe this vast and strange, the most incredible discoveries are often hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone brave enough to look beyond the boundaries of what we think we know. Thank you for joining us on this extraordinary journey through the unexplained. The world is full of wonders we've yet to understand, and here at Dream Vault Mysteries, we'll never stop searching for the truth behind the impossible. Keep questioning, keep wondering, and never lose that sense of awe at the magnificent mysteries that surround us every day. The universe has so much more to show us, and we can't wait to explore it together.